no secret, housing and real estate has certainly been on a roller coaster ride for quite some time. Let's see. Oh, yeah, when Joe Biden was sworn in. Things started getting squirrely. And joining us now to talk about where we are with luxury homes and construction and new homes, the third-generation home builder based in Texas, Eason Maykus is here. Eason, welcome in. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So how's it been for you with the slowdown and people going, I can't afford this anymore. I'm just going to do some DIY. I don't want to sell. It's going to cost me more to get going somewhere else. New construction, I'm sure, was impacted by this. How you been for the last 3 years?
It's been pretty slow, and I hope and pray and believe that it'll turn around at some point. It's got to. I believe there's a lot of pent-up demand. And what's hard for people to understand is they hear inflation and they hear a bunch of different things on housing costs. And really, if they saw the margins, they would understand that, we're actually being extremely fair. I'm not trying to be extremely self-serving, but it's the truth. 15% of new construction is tied up in regulatory costs. So we do residential development, and then we build a bunch of different product, pretty much offer a lot of value. And I would say $650,000 to $2+ million. And what's really hard for people to understand when they hear lumber and commodities and concrete being at, the prices and going up, the costs of these things has continued to go up. But really what it is interest carry when this red tape takes something on a project that should be a 2-year or a 6-month project and drags it out to 2 years. Well, the hidden cost in that is the interest carry and all the red tape and the regulation that's tied up into producing a lot, a platted lot to build on, or producing a house.
Yeah. And in a $2 million home certainly is going to be a nice home, but it certainly is not a $2 million home you could get 4 years ago, for instance. I mean, it probably would have only cost you maybe even half of that then, but because of all these costs and regulations, everything goes up. So let's talk about the two different people that are running for president right now. And Donald Trump obviously has some real estate background. Kamala Harris, she's a California gal. I would imagine things are a little different on how they want to attack this.
Yes, with Kamala saying she wants to start 3 million new housing units in her 4 years, I believe that's a lofty goal, and I believe it's done in the wrong way. I believe when the government gets involved and they're going to offer subsidies and new home buyer credits, I don't believe that's something that is going to increase the volume and increase the expediency of creating new homes. With Donald Trump real estate and building background, I hope that his policies would be, keeping the government out, and maybe in our area in Dallas-Fort Worth, our concentric circle of the Metroplex is obviously growing and expanding outward, but the land that's left normally has, let's say, floodplain on it, or there's a lot of neighbors that don't want the development. So the zoning policy at a local level, which is hard to regulate at a federal level, but some sort of guidelines that say, hey, waters of the U.S., FEMA, back off, or let's expedite the process of these smaller parcels, these infill parcels, which the small guys like myself are the ones that access that, because the big production-minded builders are going to go on the outskirts and go develop a 500-acre pasture, where the smaller infill development is more geared towards local guys like myself. And that regulation just eats our lunch. We don't have the staff or the time or the money to deal with that. So something to expedite the process is to get lots and houses on the ground with the shortage that we currently have.
Yeah, the more the government gets involved and the more regulations, the more things get screwed up. You're right about that. Get out of the way. Let the free market handle itself. Let competition handle itself, and it will work itself out. I did want to ask you, though, with your particular company and your business, when you have to raise prices to that point, do you price yourself out of the market in that so many people cannot afford to get the money, first of all, or, even with down payments and the monthly premiums, that are being paid, that they can't do it. They've got to, they just can't afford it. So how does that affect supply and demand and your ability to continue to stay at the level you're at? Or do you have to start building $400,000 homes to $1 million instead of $800,000 to $2 million?
Well, in theory, that would be great, but the land cost is certainly not going down. So we can control the commodities and buy buy our product at the right level and, really work on the standards that we provide. But the dirt is also continually going up. I do believe it's kind of plateaued, but the affordability is huge. I mean, we have a CRNA and a doctor trying to pre-qualify for a $1.5 million house, which is not a crazy price for a home right now. And what they've elected to do and what we've elected to do is work with them in buying the dirt, sitting on it. They'll file their next tax returns, and then we will commence construction after the next cycle. So it's been hugely problematic, even for very successful people. We're not even talking about new home buyers. We're talking about professionals and people that typically would have no problem qualifying, and they would have no problem making those payments. But the regulatory nature of the lending community also is just not allowing that to happen. And I don't want to repeat what we did in the subprime crisis, but we're talking well-to-do people trying to buy houses that just can't.
What is the biggest pivot that you've had to make in the last 4 years?
We've, during COVID and during the supply chain crisis, what we did is standardize a lot of our things, whether it be flooring, countertops, appliances, hardware, fixtures with plumbing, fixtures with lights. But now people are even pushing back on that. And that was one of our small ways where we would buy things in bulk to get an economies of scale, get shipping containers and store it off site. But there's not a lot of places to store things off site when you're building in the inner circles of the Metroplex per se. So it's a challenge. We're just trying to get creative with different parsing out the buying process. Like I mentioned, buying the lot first, maybe sitting on the lot for a year, working with us as a builder and having a lot purchase contract that allows us to buy it back if they can't qualify again in a year from that. So it's taking that process that should take 8 to 10 months to build a house, and in some cases it's dragging it out to 2.5 years.
Well, November 5th is 6 weeks away from today. It can't get here soon enough. I would imagine things will turn if we can turn the White House. Eason Maykus in Dallas, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Good luck moving forward with everything.
Yes, thanks for having me.